Hey everyone, I'm here with Cam Overacker, president of Primco. Cam, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, sir.
Good.
Cam, can you start out? Just tell us a little bit about what Primco is and what you guys do.
Primco is we're a privately held company in Western Canada that's been in business for 73 years now. We're currently a distributor in the wholesale distributor in the world of floor covering. So anything you can basically cover your floor with, and some wall coverings, both commercial and residential products. So we are a true wholesale distributor selling to retailers who then turn around and sell to the public, to the builders, and or to commercial end users. So.
Perfect. And Cam, can you give us a bit of an idea as to how is the current economic situation and the COVID-19 impacted your guys' business, either for the good or for the bad?
Well, it's had a bit of both. One, like any company, I think it causes you to look deep within at the inefficiencies and some things that you're doing well, some things that you're not doing well, and it causes you to really make quick decisions on things that you've probably been pondering about, but haven't pulled the trigger on because things were too busy. Now there's no lack of time available to pour the resources at those projects that you wanted to and needed to get done. In helping to impact the efficiency of your business. First and foremost, like any business, it was about getting our employees to be safe and get them home. So we weren't all operating, and within a 10-day period of kind of the outbreak on May the 12th or 14th, whatever the date was, we had all of our staff working from home. And we're continuing to notice some advantages of that, us and our staff, and getting some advantages out of, no commuting, no, sitting in traffic, all that kind of stuff, and just more time, to, be with family and on a health level as well too. Get out and go for something simple as take the dog for a walk at lunch. Employees have made mention of that and how going for a walk at lunchtime with one of their siblings, and things like that. It's something that people weren't able to do when you're driving a half an hour to get home with an hour lunch break and so on and so forth. So we've had some really positive feedback on that, and it seems like the efficiencies and the amount of staff we had to getting the jobs done hasn't dropped off. So we're still able to get things done and then some. So efficiencies of that work environment seem to be fairly strong. So
Nice. And where are you seeing the market right now? I mean, for flooring, is it shifted? Is it starting to come back, or where do you kind of see things going?
Well, it's really hard to tell, Jeff, because a lot of the stores just got, with the exception of stores in Saskatchewan, a lot of stores were just really open last week. So there was definitely an influx of orders. Even yesterday, as an example, a big influx day of order intake, which we now manage on a daily basis. It used to be something we used to manage and monitor monthly, but now we compare that more on a day-to-day basis versus the same time last year. So how much order intake we have on a day today versus June the 4th of last year, or the 4th billing day of last year, et cetera, et cetera. So it's definitely something that we've been noticing, that we were one of the companies that remained open during the whole thing because we were able to work from home. We split our warehouse into 2 shifts, and it's not a large crew, but 7 guys at our Calgary facility. We split them into 2 crews and had 3 working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, longer hours though, to make up for that 40-hour work week type thing, considering overtime and such as well. And then giving them a 4-day weekend, and then the other guys come in on Thursday, Friday, and we actually open Saturday for customer pickups as required, which we'd never typically been open on Saturdays before. So. But what we found was the time before a shift opens, or the typical stores open, we're an 8 to 5 company. So guys coming in at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, the amount of stuff they were able to get done without having customers at the door was so things like shipping, receiving, preparing cuts of roll goods, things like that, getting orders wrapped and ready for the customers when they do come in. We noticed a big advantage to that. And then obviously on Saturday, not a huge impact of customers wanting to come here to pick product up, but all day Saturday being able to operate without customers coming in really helped the guys to get caught up in those projects of things that needed to be done in the warehouse: cleaning, sweeping, organization, relocations, inventory counts, things like that. It's been very well received.
So I mean, and I think that's the thing. You guys have shifted and making best use of the time and pivoting,
Yep.
which is great. What, Cam, kind of advice would you have for, I mean, some of your customers that are out there, business owners, people that are kind of concerned? None of us have a crystal ball and we don't exactly know what the future's like, but what are you telling people?
Well, funny you say that. We just held a webinar actually that we invited our banker from the Bank of Montreal, from BMO. We invited one of the business leaders from BDC here in Calgary. We had two people from Price Waterhouse, who's our accounting firm. And then we had kind of a motivational speaker, at the end of it, and hosted an hour-long webinar yesterday for our clients. And, it was all around just, making them aware of the programs that are available for them. Because as you watch the news and or, click on social media and stuff like that, there's a lot of programs out there, a lot of decent, really good programs, to be honest with you, that are very helpful. And I think that it was something that we wanted to do for our dealers network, to really say, we're not just here to sell you things. We've been in business with you for 73 years now, and we're really truly trying to establish a business partnership where we're not just your supplier, we're a partner to you, and we'll help educate you and get you through times that are good and times that are bad. And this was one of those examples where I really wanted to just provide a training mechanism and network of local experts, I guess you'd call them, in regards to being able to make sure that our dealer network knew, the programs that are out there, how to deal with your banker, what are the do's and don'ts of going to a banker, to have a banker on the line that could tell them exactly what a banker is looking for when a business approaches them. And, his message was, be prepared and make sure what you're asking for is what you're actually going to need. Because if you go in and ask for, I'll just use a number, you ask for a $500,000 loan and, 6 months down the road, you need, $2 million. Well, you've really kind of shot yourself in the foot by going in and asking for a smaller amount, and kind of comes off like you're not prepared. So
Right.
his message was just about being prepared, and an overall message from the group as a whole was just, connecting with your staff, making sure your staff feels comfortable coming back to the workplace and safe. We've all been huddled up in our homes with our wives, our husbands and children, and and in close quarantine, and everybody's excited to get back out and stuff, but there is anxiety there as well, as you see the mental health cases and things like that. So as a business owner, just making sure that you're connected with your employees one-on-one, and really making sure that they're feeling the love, and that your culture, just because you had a good culture going into COVID-19, if I could call it that, doesn't mean your culture is going to be acceptable coming out of COVID-19, because the needs that people have now are different. And I think a lot of companies can get caught up in that, of making the assumption that, well, we know how to do it. We have barbecues on Fridays, and we play pool and ping pong and all this kind of stuff, but that's not what employees are looking for now. So if you just come back to the old normal, you can have a lot of employees that really don't accept that as being good enough. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and I think if you can take care of your employees and make sure they're comfortable, I think it also, especially for your retailers, that's going to pass along making sure that they're making their customers,
For sure.
safe and secure.
Yeah, and that was the other topic, was just, in our business, in the retail business, when a consumer walks into a retail flooring store, or the builder client walks into to a builder account to do a product selection and stuff. There's a lot of individual samples. There's a lot of hand touching that goes on, all that kind of stuff. So typically the stores are fairly crowded, I would say, with regards to displays and narrow aisles and things like that you don't typically see in other retail environments. And especially post-COVID, I would assume that aisles are going to get bigger, not smaller, to maintain that social distancing. And a lot of hand touching. Samples go out of the showroom, they go into a car, they go into the home, they're touched, they're exposed to things at home, then they come back in the car and are dropped off back in the showroom. Well, as a client who's coming into that showroom to purchase a product, how are you making me comfortable that you're sanitizing those samples when they come back? And in the same regard, how do you keep yourself sane in doing that? You talk about using a bleach solution or something like that. And, we've all been made aware, or at least I have, over the last couple of months, how the bleach used to smell in mom's laundry room and how I hated that smell because, typically we don't use bleach today. I know we don't in our household and stuff like that. So that kind of brought me back to a not so favorable time and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, it's got a horrible odor, and you get it on your hands or the gloves, and gloves on, gloves off, all that stuff. It's so it's it's a challenging environment, and everybody's got to change. That's what it comes down to. Flus are getting worse. Call it COVID-19 today, call it COVID-20 tomorrow. The talk about potentially another outbreak in the fall. I think businesses should be doing whatever they can to make sure that they're prepared for that in case it happens. So.
Well, you know what, and I think, and that's the key message, is getting out right from you being the wholesaler through to the retailers, through to their samples in the storeroom, even to their installers going into somebody's home.
For sure.
The whole industry is taking the necessary precautions because you have to. And
yeah.
So,
Well, and for years, if you can be the company that, and we've all probably experienced it, but you go into one, store A and there's a security guard out front that doesn't say hello. There's a lineup that, there's no marks as far as to how some people are in masks, some people aren't, some people have gloves, some people don't, some people are coughing and not covering,
Yeah.
sneezing, and everyone looking at you like you have the plague, all that kind of stuff. And then, you go into the store, you go to touch a cart, there's no sanitizer, there's no, things like that. And then you go into the next store and there's someone greeting you at the door asking you, my experience was, not to plug Golf Town, but I went into Golf Town just recently and sorry, Jeff.
no problem.
Went into Golf Town and, they had a guy that was, out front interacting, asking you what you were going into the store for, telling you whereabouts in the store it was located, having a real interaction with you and, really making it fun. And, I went in and bought a new set of golf clubs. And as I walked out, him and the rest of the crowd gave me a round of applause for a nice purchase, and stuff like that. So just little things like that, and I didn't go in expecting that experience, to be honest with you. I saw the lineup and thought, oh God, here we go again. But the way they dealt with you and made you feel like you were safe. They gave you a pair of gloves when you walked in that were too small, that didn't fit. But I mean, the effort was there, and stuff. So those are ways that I think retailers in a retail space can separate themselves. Restaurants would be in the same boat for me. Haven't ventured back to a restaurant yet, but when I do, I'm sure that there's some that are going to make you feel real comfortable and that they're looking after things, and others you go back and say, whoa, nothing really looks any different from the day that I was last year. So, would you ever go back to that restaurant? Probably not. So
Definitely second guess it.
Yep.
Cam, I appreciate you taking the time. Any final words of encouragement or tips you'd have for other business owners out there like yourself?
No, I think, I could say that, I think what I've learned in this is that, it comes around to surrounding yourself with good people. And I know that sounds cliche, but it was true before. It's more true now, that surrounding yourself with a good team around you, a good team of consultants or people to reach to, reading, stories online, inspirational books, things like that, to try and and try and keep positive. Try and find I've heard on a couple different sessions I've attended, like try and find that silver lining. What is the thing that maybe wasn't predominantly part of your business pre-COVID-19 that you can use to separate yourself from your competition, post-COVID-19. And I think it just comes down to the caring and connection with your staff, with your clients, and with your suppliers. In our case, I think with your banker, with your accountants, just staying in connection and really truly caring for each other. I think that'll help everyone get through this. So, and manage your cash flow.
That's key. Absolutely.
That goes without saying. So.
Perfect, Cam. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and take care and stay healthy, and we'll chat with you soon.
Thanks. You as well, Jeff. Thanks for the time.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.